Roll call, please, sir.
Mr. Barrett?
Here.
Ms. DiLiberto?
He's present.
Mrs. DiLiberto?
Present.
Mr. Grossman?
Yes, here.
Mr. Arnello?
Here.
Mr. Lamb?
Here.
Ms. O'Leary?
Here.
Mr. Culvus?
Here.
And Mr. Barrett?
Here. Moving on the agenda to citizens' questions and comments on agenda items. Anyone who'd like to address the board regarding items that are on the agenda, please come to the podium. State your name and address. 2 3-minute statements may be made. No participant may speak more than once on the same topic until all others who have spoken on that topic have been heard. On agenda items only. Okay, moving on. Approval of minutes and financial reports.
So offered.
Motion by Mrs. DiLiberto, second by Ms. O'Leary. Roll call.
Mr. Barrett?
Yes.
Ms. DiLiberto?
Yes.
Mrs. DiLiberto?
Yes.
Mr. Grossman?
Yes.
Mr. Arnello?
Yes.
Mr. Lamb?
Yes.
Ms. O'Leary?
Yes.
And Mr. Culvus?
Yes. There is no president's report. Moving on to secretary's report.
Nothing, sir.
New business finance, A through E, pages 2 through 8. Is there a motion? I'll make it. Motion by Mr. Grossman. Is there a second? Second by Ms. DiLiberto, Dina DiLiberto. Can I just say Dina? Would that just be easier?
Like Ms. DiLiberto.
Okay, Mrs. Dina DiLiberto. Yes. Can I use Paulette? Can you use Paulette?
Yeah, no, I was gonna say, but since Ms. Mullins had said, using my maiden name for a cot in my bill, but yeah, you can take all that.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Questions? Hearing none, roll call.
Mr. Barrett?
Yes.
Ms. DiLiberto?
Yes.
Mrs. DiLiberto?
Yes.
Mr. Grossman?
Yes.
Mr. Arnello?
Yes.
Mr. Lamb?
Yes.
Ms. O'Leary?
Yeah.
And Mr. Culvus?
Yes.
Excuse me, Mr. President, but I believe that Mrs. Paulette DiLiberto needed to abstain because she's on the bill list, as well as Mr. Barrett.
Oh, I'm sorry.
So we'll
Abstain of
Thank you.
themselves.
abstain on themselves.
Yeah, yes, okay, then I, stay on my second. Sorry.
Thank you. Thank you for pointing that out.
Yes.
Staying on page 8, personnel, A through U, pages 8 through 11. Just realized in the minutes, did it say that? No, what's it say?
It says has a middle school, should be American school.
On page 9, letter C, it scratch Hazlet Middle School, and it should be Clarendon High School. So that's personnel A through U, 8 through 11 pages. Is there a motion? I'll make it. Motion by Mr. Lamb, is there a second? By Mr. Grossman. Questions? Comments? Roll call.
Mr. Barrett?
Yes.
Ms. DiLiberto?
Yes.
Mrs. DiLiberto?
Yes.
Mr. Grossman?
Yes.
Mr. Arnello?
Yes.
Mr. Lamb?
Yes.
Ms. O'Leary? Mr. Culvus?
Yes. On page 11, student activities, letter A. Is there a motion?
So offered.
Motion by Ms. DiLiberto, is there a second? Second by Paulette. Questions or comments? Hearing none, roll call.
Mr. Barrett?
Yes.
Ms. DiLiberto?
Yes.
Mrs. DiLiberto?
Yes.
Mr. Grossman?
Yes.
Mr. Arnello?
Yes.
Mr. Lamb?
Yes.
Mrs. O'Leary?
Yes.
And Mr. Culvus?
Yes. Moving on to page 12, professional development, letter A. That is 12 through 13. Letter A, professional development. Is there a motion? Motion by Ms. O'Leary, is there a second? Second by Mr. Barrett. Questions or comments? Roll call.
Mr. Barrett?
Yes.
Ms. DiLiberto?
Yes.
Mrs. DiLiberto?
Yes.
Mr. Grossman?
Yes.
Mr. Arnello?
Yes.
Mr. Lamb? Ms. O'Leary? And Mr. Culvus?
Yes. And on page 13, policy, letter A. Is there a motion?
So offered.
Motion by Ms. DiLiberto. Is there a second by Mr. Lamb? Question or comments? Hearing none, roll call.
Mr. Barrett?
Yes.
Ms. DiLiberto?
Yes.
Mrs. DiLiberto? Mr. Grossman?
Yes.
Mr. Arnello?
Yes.
Mr. Lamb? Ms. O'Leary? And Mr. Culvus?
Yes. On page 13, letters A and B, so it's 13 and 14, facilities and transportation. Is there a motion? Motion by Mr. Anello, Victor. Is there a second? Second by Mr. Lamb. Questions or comments?
Yeah, I have a question. My question question is, I thought with respect to the HVAC and the door replacement and window replacements, I thought that was part of the referendum.
Mr. Mullins?
Cove Road Steam Lab is not part of the referendum, that's part of this year's budget. The Raritan High School Steam Lab is part of this year's budget. The HVAC at the middle school, originally, the gymnasium was gonna have their unit replaced, but that meant that it wouldn't have air conditioning. So this is a change to the original contract to design air conditioning for the gym. We did not include the door replacements at the middle school when we did the initial contract with the architect, nor did we include the window replacements in the initial contract with the architect. So these are modifications to the contract with the architect for items that weren't in the initial one that we approved.
Okay, so the other items, the Hazlet Middle School, Middle Road, door replacements and window replacements, that's part of next year's budget as well?
No, 1 and 2 are operating budget items, 3, 4, and 5 are referendum items.
Okay,
So we're adding them to the referendum, you're adding those prices to the referendum, correct?
so that would make, I'm sorry, that would make them, the referendum would not be 43 million anymore, it would be,
No, it's coming from those dollars. When we,
okay,
they were in the referendum, but when we designed and did the contract with the architect for the work we were gonna do, these projects were not included in his work. It'll all come, we can't go higher than $43 million.
okay.
I'm
And
sorry,
what about section B, if I may ask?
Section B is work that's being done in that STEAM that we have to submit to the state. Anytime you're renovating classroom space, or if we're renovating, the technology room down there in the science room, we have to send that to the state to get their approval.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Thank you. Roll call.
Mr. Barrett?
Yes.
Ms. DiLiberto?
Yes,
Mrs. DiLiberto?
Yes.
Mr. Grossman?
Yes.
Mr. Iannello?
Yes.
Mr. Lamb? Ms. O'Leary?
Yes.
And Mr. Cullis?
Yes. Superintendent's report, I need a motion on, items 1 through 7.
Just for clarification, the health first donation, that should be $1,900. There's an extra zero on the end of there.
Thank you.
thank you.
Motion to accept superintendent's report, motion by Mrs. O'Leary, second by Mr. Lamb. All in favor?
All in favor, yes.
Aye.
Aye.
Moving on to page 22, board discussion and committee updates.
I have a question, Mr. Cullis. I see that the budget books have been given to the finance team, and I was just wondering, my last question in January was about the parameters for the budget, and what are we looking at in terms of the tax increase, if there is one?
Sure. First, I'll let Mr. Mullins talk to that, but let me talk on the budget books. The budget committee has had their books for a month. We researched the budget. Tonight we had a budget meeting before the meeting for 1 hour where we asked some questions. Just so the board knows, you will be receiving the budget 1 week prior to the March meeting, Mr. Mullins?
Yes.
1 week prior to the March meeting, which gives you ample time. The committee felt to ask questions before the vote to submit the budget to the county. At that time, the public will be allowed to speak on the budget before we speak, so that's one time you get to speak on the budget. And just to clarify it, you also get to speak on the budget prior to the formal vote in April. So that's 2 times you get to speak on the budget. Just to clarify some comments that were made last meeting, that there is a transparency in the process, just to clarify and set the record straight. Now, as for with regards to your questions on the budget, I will let Mr. Mullins answer your questions.
Before that, can I ask a question?
Sure.
If the budget books are ready, why are we not able to have them now so we can take more time to look at them rather than getting them March and April, if they are ready now?
That's a great question.
Because we don't get the state aid till the end of this week. Correct. So our budget is set on the parameter of a state aid number. So until we get the state aid number on either the 3rd or the 6th, we can't finalize it.
And if I just may add, just to set, so everybody knows, we do function on a committee format. So the committee still hasn't set that budget forward to this board, and that will be done prior to next meeting. So it's still in the works.
Okay, thank you.
Now to ask Ms. DiLiberto's question.
You're gonna have to refresh my, What's still open? What am I
Tax
answering?
increase. As of right now, what are we looking for as a, any kind of increase, or where are we at with the budget update?
Budget parameters. You had a question about the budget parameters,
Yes.
so I did send out to all the board members, the finance committee members, and also you, Mr. Liberto. There's a budget guide that we built with all the administrators that really has our parameters to how we develop a budget. So that had been shared previously with the finance committee, and then Mr. Liberto, I shared that with you as well. Developing the budget right now, we are able to go up a maximum, I don't have the number in front of me, of about $890,000 maximum is what we can go up in our budget. So depending on where state aid is and where that falls, that we should hear by the end of this week or early next week is where then we can start setting the final parameters for that. But really our maximum budget that we can go up from a tax basis would be probably about $17 to $18 to the average taxpayer in town. So we really can't go up a whole heck of a lot.
Per year.
Per year, about $1.50 a month.
Am I correct in understanding that that's the maximum you can go up for a 2% cap, correct?
We have a 2% plus we have some bank cap as well.
Okay.
That's a maximum we can go up under the parameters allowed by the state law.
So are we looking to use that entire 2% cap and then some?
The finance committee has not finalized where we are right now until we get our state aid numbers.
Okay, thank you. I just also would like to add, I had the pleasure of going to the Monmouth County School Board's meeting, and I was very pleased with Raritan High School Band. They did an excellent job, and everybody was raving, all the participants there were raving about the band. So I want to say kudos to the band and Mr. LaHaye.
Any other questions? Hearing none, moving on to legislative update.
Nothing, sir.
Thank you. This time we will open the meeting to citizens' comments. Anyone who would like to address the board, please come to the podium. State your name and address. 2 3-minute statements may be made as taken by paper. No participant may speak more than once on the same topic until all those who wish to speak on the topic have been heard. Good evening.
My name is Diane Donnelly. I live at 24 Monterey Drive in Hazlet. And I was sitting here looking over the meetings from last month. My question is for Ms. DiLiberto. Have you paid your taxes?
The answer is no.
Okay, thank you. I'll ask you until you get paid.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Anyone else from the public? Yes, you could, want to say something? It's closed. It's on public comment. Seeing nobody else, need a motion to go on into agenda, into executive session on number 7 and 8. Is there a motion? Motion by Mr. Lamb, second by Mr. Barrett. Thank you.
I am.
Be removed.
I remember those days.
I wasn't here for this meeting, and as I'm sitting here going through the minutes, today at work, and I'm finishing up when I was here today, I saw it. But she's sitting over there, she's getting all the Have a great night. You know, I'm not gonna see her discuss it. So it's your taxes? So why is it your name? Why does it put up on her name?
Thank you so much.
As I'm sitting here reading the minutes, meeting, I see it in here. I'm so frustrated. They're talking about a lot of questions. But it doesn't matter. I have a question for her. I have a question for her. And I have a right as a public person in this meeting to ask a question. And I don't deserve to be attacked by anybody on the board. Yes, you are. You were coming here, you were standing over me, and you're talking to me. Who is it? You have to go into your executive session. No. That's fine. But I have a right to ask a question. And when I'm sitting here and I'm seeing it and I'm seeing stuff being questioned, I have a right to ask a question of whether she did it or not. All right. I just have a question. When you're sitting here asking questions about the taxes, regardless of what it is, I get that. I understand that. I have a right as a public person. And when I sit here and I see it in the minutes, I'm finishing up reading what was in the back here, whether it's here on the you see it and she's asking all these questions, it just prompted me to say, hey, you paid your taxes. That's a simple question. And I have a right, and I have a right to ask.
Some other girls.
Yeah, but
Sisters are like they.
it's all a matter of public record. You know, it was a public record, when it was in these minutes here.
Yes, she'll come and attack the person who questioned it.
You know what I'm saying? She can't say she did when she did.
But I have a right as a citizen, when I see something
She
coming
absolutely
up.
has a right to
But they're
make any
paid, if
comment
there's a lien
she
against
She
it, bring
shouldn't
it.
be harassing.
I'm sure there's a lien against it.
Attorneys take a while to get liens off.
Yeah, and I guess it does,
Yeah.
but it doesn't matter. I will look into it further myself, and I will check next meeting.
The house is being sold. So just put that part in, the house is being sold,